we'll be marketing ourselves to the other LNG export facilities, and they're out there. They know who we are now. We've signed one. They know that we can provide them a supply that is guaranteed, and that's what they're looking for. They're just looking for the ability to lock that in and make sure that that is accessible to them for the long haul.
Welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. Joining me now is Rusty Hutson Jr. He is the CEO of Diversified Energy. And Rusty, it's good to have you back again. How are you?
Going very well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, exciting news out from the company, securing an LNG supply deal with a major Gulf Coast company. Tell me a little bit about the supply deal. This is good news for the company.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this is something we've been discussing with investors now for a year or two, and just about the accessibility of a new market, which being the LNG export facilities. And this is the first one for us. First one's always the hardest to obviously to get signed up, but and it's not a significant amount of production, but one that's material enough and gives us our first footstep into that area of LNG export.
Yeah, Rusty, it gives you some stability too. This is a 3-year deal and will provide obviously revenue for over those 3 years. So for just the balance sheet and the bottom line, it's not a bad way to start things off.
No, it's not, and it's all about markets at the end of the day. So it guarantees our market. It guarantees a price that we can rely on over the next 3 years and take some of that volatility out of the basis differentials that we see. But gives us that guaranteed outlet for gas and puts us on the map of other LNG export facilities that we're out there and we're in business.
Yeah, Rusty, when you hear from people that you're dealing with, especially this particular client, and what we've seen about supply chain overseas and things that are happening and instability around the world, I guess to have something like you're providing really is an advantage, I would think, for your company.
Well, we know that the globe needs more natural gas. I mean, regardless of what you hear in the rhetoric out there, more energy is needed. And this is, one of the larger export facilities along the Gulf Coast. And so they have a lot of contracts, obviously overseas. And so having the ability to produce and to provide that gas is a big win for us and just adds to our story of being a global supplier of natural gas.
Yeah. And last thing I want to ask you about is you mentioned earlier in the interview talking about, the first one's always the toughest to sign. But now that you have one on the books, what does that say for moving forward and for the pipeline and for people looking at you to provide something that they need?
Well, it just lets them know that we're in the business of providing that natural gas, and we have the ability to provide more. And so we'll be marketing ourselves to the other LNG export facilities, and they're out there. They know who we are now. We've signed one. They know that we can provide them a supply that is guaranteed, and that's what they're looking for. They're just looking for the ability to lock that in and make sure that that is accessible to them for the long haul.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Rusty, thanks very much. Congratulations on this first deal, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Rusty Hutson Jr., the CEO of Diversified Energy.